Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is kayeonyx. Today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite Halloween movies, Haunted Mansion. This is one of my favorite Halloween movies, one, because there are black people, but also because it's a good story. It's a family movie, but it's not too childish. This is a film that came out in 2023. The story starts out with our main character, Ben. It's a flashback of when he met his wife at a bar. So Ben's backstory is that he used to be an astrophysicist, and his wife used to do ghost tours. And now his wife is gone, but he does tours. And so with his astrophysicist knowledge, he created a camera that can capture ghost particles, so you can take pictures of ghosts. But then it clips to modern day, and he's in this bar alone, sad and hungover. He does tours in New Orleans. He's just kind of sarcastic and kind of mean to the people who he's supposed to be leading on a tour. And then it cuts to him at home. Ben hears a knock on the door, and it's a priest with a cat, and he brings the cat inside thinking that it's Ben's cat. It's not Ben's cat. He just brought a random cat into Ben's house. And also, I'm gonna spoil this for you. The priest is not a priest. He works at the Halloween store, and he just put on a priest outfit. And so throughout this movie, people see him as kind of an authority figure who knows what he's talking about because he's a priest. He's not a priest. So the whole time, he's basically committing fraud. Just wanted to make that clear. The priest's name is Father Kent. Fraudulent Father Kent says that Ben should go to a mother and son's house who's haunted, since he has a spectral camera. And so Father Kent thought that Ben could help. He says that he doesn't want to help this family and that ghosts don't exist. But Father Kent tells him that they're going to pay him handsomely, and he agrees to do it.
So why does Ben have a ghost camera if he doesn't believe in ghosts? Well, his wife believed in ghosts and he wanted to help her by creating a camera that could help you see them. But after she died, he really wanted to see her one last time, so he finished the camera, but he never got a picture of her, and so he gave up in his belief of ghosts.
He goes to their house. Gabby opens the door. Gabby is the mother, and she tells him, actually, you should just leave while you still can. But they end up talking, and she shows him the money. He takes the money, and then he steps into the house. Ben's camera is dead. It has no battery. And so basically they go around the house, and he takes pictures of nothing. Like, he makes the click sound with his mouth. It's so disrespectful. Because of his disrespect for this poor family living in a haunted house, I think he deserves what is about to come to him. While Ben is taking pictures, he sees a painting of like a washerman, like a sea captain man, and that will be important later. But basically they don't see any ghosts, and he gaslights them and says, actually, ghosts aren't real, and he just leaves. But over the next couple days, he realizes that one of the ghosts have followed him home. And so it was the washerman. He's been playing tricks on him, making him spill his coffee, until he pretty much like almost drowns in his apartment, and then he rushes back to the haunted house as expected by Gabby and her son. They're waiting outside for him. Ben throws a tantrum saying, you should have told me that the ghost would follow me home. But of course, Gabby says that she would have felt worse if he didn't scam her out of her money and take pictures of nothing. I blame you, Ben. Now he knows he cannot leave this mansion. He will always be drawn back to it. And it's revealed that Father Kent also can't leave the house. So he was already trapped in the house, and then he invited Ben. So now it's Ben, Gabby, her son, and Father Kent, all in this house, and they try to figure out a solution to this problem. Father Kent's next idea is that they need to find a psychic. There's only one psychic within their price range, and her name is Harriet. Harriet does a seance thing. It allows Ben to go into a liminal space where he can see the ghosts and talk to Gracie, one of the ghosts.
Gracie is actually one of the former owners of this mansion, and he is kind of the reason that all of this stuff is happening. He unknowingly attracted an evil ghost into his house, and with the help of a medium. And so I'll tell you more about that later. It's important to understand that Gracie is actually not the evil ghost, and he's a good person because he's trying to fix the problem that he started. Gracie tells Ben that there's an evil ghost in the house and that he needs 1,000 souls in order to permanently trap everyone in the house, and so that that ghost can be free from the house.
They find out that pretty much they only need one more soul. Gracie also tells them that they need to find Madame Leota, who was the psychic who got them into this kind of problem with the former house owner. They look in the attic and they find Madame Leota, as well as a bride ghost who likes to behead men, but no one got beheaded. They find Madame Leota trapped in a crystal ball, and she tells them how this house came to be haunted by all these ghosts. Basically, the former owner,
Gracie,
wanted to do a seance every night for a year in order to find his late wife. But his wife never came to him, and so they kept doing it. But Harriet, the other psychic, says that that was really irresponsible because that can cause like other spirits to creep in if you're doing a seance every night for a year, which is what happened. And so a bunch of souls came into the house and didn't leave.
one of these ghosts is the evil ghost man, and he also was a
And they find a college history professor who knows a lot about the historic area. He tells Ben that since he saw the ghost, they should go to a person who draws criminals based on their description. They can draw the former owner that he got a glimpse of when he was in the liminal space after he met Gracie. The description was actually of a skeleton man, but spontaneously the sketch artist could actually end up drawing him what he would look like if he had skin. And so then they find a picture that matches that picture on one of the old house deeds. And then they find out that it's a guy with the last name Crump. In order to break this curse on the house, they need to find one of his items so that they can perform like a ritual. Throughout this experience, both Harriet and Madame Leota have said that they feel grief in the house. They're psychics, and so they can feel others' grief. And so the whole time they think that it's Ben, because he shares later on in the movie to Harriet that his wife died, and he was wondering if she could find her. But Harriet couldn't find her because she wasn't in the house. And Harriet says that actually that's a good thing because it means that she's at peace. But they assume that Ben is the grieving spirit, even though there may or may not be another grieving spirit in the house, i.e. Gabby's son. They actually moved to where they are now because the father died, and so Gabby is single and her son does not have a father. And they thought they could have a fresh start in New Orleans. And the reason they bought this old, decrepit mansion is because the mother really loves like vintage stuff. And so she likes that kind of old charm. But no one really thinks that maybe we should ask if there's any other grieving spirits in the house. The thing about grief is that the former owner, Crump, is a very powerful ghost who can use your grief against you to manipulate you into you giving him your soul. It could have really helped to make sure that we know everyone's grief, just so that we could protect, especially the young child who is 9 years old. The thing about the last soul is also that the soul needs to be willing, and so that's why Crump is so good at manipulating people. They find out that in the area there is a replica of Crump's house, and so they assume that they can find one of his belongings in that house. They manage to get out and drive to the replica of that house. When they get to the house for the tour, they realize that a lot of these items are actually replicas. So the only hope that they have is from an old legend that says that his head is still buried somewhere in the house. They end up finding a crawl space that only the 9-year-old can fit in. So they force him to go down there, and they find his head and also his hat. And so the 9-year-old picks up the hat. There's a spider underneath, as well as Crump's skull. But anyway, they get the hat, they get out of there, and they go back to the house, ready to perform the last part of the ritual. The kid's name is Travis. Ben decides that it's too dangerous for a 9-year-old to do this ritual thing, and so he asks Travis to stay in the car. Throughout the movie, Ben and Travis have gotten closer. It's kind of like a father-son relationship. And so Travis tells Ben that he's been talking to his dad recently, but not to tell his mom because that would make her feel bad. Ben does not know that his dad is dead. And so he just leaves him in the car alone, where Crump can find him and manipulate him. He's not actually talking to his dad, he's talking to Crump. Because Travis is really the grieving soul that everyone was feeling in the house. It wasn't really Ben. The history teacher that helped them get the deed to the house, he's having heart problems, but yet he was very determined to find this house, and so he found it. But he kind of collapses. People are scared that he is going to die in the house. Ben gets back into the house with the hat and also with Father Kent. Then they see Bruce. Ben asks where the others are, and he goes to find them, leaving Father Kent alone with him and the hat. And it turns out that it's not Bruce, it's actually Crump. He possessed his body while he was like unconscious after he collapsed, and then he tries to grab the hat and then burn it. But they take it out of the fire before that is possible. But it doesn't really matter at that point because Crump actually has manipulated Travis, the young boy, into wanting to go be with his dad. Why would you leave a kid alone in this? Like, yes, it is dangerous for him to be in the house, but it's also more dangerous to leave him alone. So, Ben, that was a terrible idea. Everything is Ben's fault when you think about it. They have to talk Travis into reclaiming his soul, basically make him not willing anymore. So he does that, and then Crump is upset. So they have to pretend like someone else is gonna be the last soul so they can distract him while they like undo everything, basically keep him distracted. Harriet manages to free Madame Leota from her crystal ball that she was placed in by Crump. And so they join their powers together in order to stop him while Ben pretends like he's going to give him his soul. Before Crump dies, in a last-ditch effort, he says to Ben that this is the last time that you can tell your wife that you love her. But then Ben realizes that she already knew that. It was a thing throughout the movie that he was feeling guilty and like his wife didn't know that he loved her. But by the end of the movie, he comes to terms with their relationship and he realizes that actually she did know. And so Crump dies, but now we have all of these spirits still in the house. And it turns out that actually they enjoyed living there. They just didn't like living with Crump. They didn't like him owning their souls. But now that their souls are free, they still want to stay in the house and just like live life. And so now all of the ghosts that want to stay live in the house, worry free, no Crump in sight. The family live alongside them. So, as well as Gabby and Travis, Ben and Harriet and Father Kent, they all live in the house together as well. It's just an interesting movie, and this video is not replacing you watching it. There's other parts of the story that you need to watch it in order to understand. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you watch that movie because I really enjoy it. So thank you for watching. Crump, crump.